Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So I'm here today to go through our book haul of the books I acquired while I was with Krista and Amanda and Sarah in North Carolina, the Book 2 Besties reunion. Amanda made us all of these shirts that we wore while we were book shopping, so that was appropriate. So we thought we'd wear them today too. Thank you, Amanda. That was super sweet, and I love the shirts, like the softest thing ever. But if you didn't know or weren't aware, I met up with Amanda from The Curly Reader, Krista from Books and Jams, and Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand. We all spent a weekend in North Carolina and did some book shopping in Asheville. I was trying to remember how many bookstores we went to. Went to a number of free little libraries. We found a library book sale. Amanda and I checked out the books in the airport. It was quite the experience. So I have a box of books because Sarah needed to send them to me because I had too many to even take on the plane. So thank you, Sarah. Somehow Amanda got all of hers in her backpack. I don't know how she didn't fall over, but it is hilarious that the two people who flew there probably bought the most books. So I'm gonna show you what I picked up. It was kind of like Christmas because I kind of forgot what I had picked up. And I'll try to remember where I bought them from too. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the books that I'm positive came from when we were at the airport. So Amanda and I flew out of Charlotte and we got there with enough time to kind of meander and found a bookstore. So of course we went into it. In some airports, I know Milwaukee has one like this. I don't know if, there's been a couple that I've been in where there's a 50% off cart because they're previously read books. And so of course we hit up that cart. I picked up 2 books, as well as Amanda and I both picked up The Hidden Child because we were really intrigued by it. All historical fictions, all kind of taking place around the same time-ish. This one's a little earlier, but The Hidden Child, this is by Louise Fine, and I've already read it. Amanda and I started this right away in the airport for Historathon. We have shared thoughts. I have lots of thoughts, so look for future videos of me talking about The Hidden Child. But this actually centers around, it has a eugenics theme to it. So we have Eleanor and Edward. Edward is very committed to the eugenics movement in London. He's designing ideas that actually get embraced by Adolf Hitler. It's kind of pre-World War II, very interesting. And Eleanor discovers that their daughter Mabel ends up having epilepsy. And so how did they balance these two? What do they do? Really interesting book, and I really enjoyed it. And then I also bought The Girl from the Channel Islands by Jenny LaCote. And it's based on a true story. This takes place in the summer of 1940, and we have Hetty. She left Vienna 2 years ago, and she now is living on the island of Jersey. She's watching for German planes, knowing an invasion is imminent, and the day that it comes, there's no counterattack because these Channel Islands just aren't worth protecting. And so the people living on the island find a way to kind of live with the Germans at the time. Hetty has a little bit of a different issue that she's facing because she's Jewish. And if they find out that she's Jewish, she's gone. So instead of going into hiding, she hides amongst the Germans as a translator and starts to thwart some of their efforts and get in their way a little bit while being hidden in plain sight. So I think it's fantastic. It's just a short little book. I cannot wait. I have a feeling I will go down a rabbit hole because this is based on a true story, so then I like to look up things and know things, and so I'm excited for that one. The next one I picked up from the bookstore at the airport is The Dressmakers of Auschwitz by Lucy Adlington, true story of the women who sewed to survive. And so there are 25 inmates that live in Auschwitz, mainly Jewish women and girls, who are selected to design, cut, and sew beautiful fashions in a dedicated salon for elite Nazi women. It was work that they hoped would spare them from the gas chambers. Be very interesting to see what happens and what they do. So that one I also picked up. All right, so I think I have the rest of them sorted in somewhat of an order of what we did. So I'll try, I think I have it right for where we got these books from. So first one I want to talk about is from the first bookstore we went to called The Joy of Books. It was a cute little bookstore in downtown, I think Hendersonville. It was adorable. I loved it. The woman working there was fantastic. We had so many conversations. Sarah ended up recommending a book to somebody else who walked in there needing a book. It was a great time. But I picked up a book by Diane Chamberlain, Keeper of Light. I have not heard of this one. There was a lot of Diane Chamberlain books. Obviously, her books take place in North Carolina, so there's a lot of them to be found. Joy of Books is a used and new bookstore, I believe. And I, of course, looked for the used ones because they're cheaper. So this one, it says, Dr. Olivia Simon is on duty in the emergency room of North Carolina's Outer Banks Hospital when a gunshot victim is brought in. Midway through the desperate effort to save the young woman's life, Olivia realizes who she is, Annie O'Neill, the woman Olivia's husband, Paul, is in love with. When Annie dies on the operating table, she leaves behind 3 other victims. Alec O'Neill, who thought he had the perfect marriage, Paul, whose fixation on Annie is unshakable, and Olivia, who is desperate to understand the woman who destroyed her marriage. Now they're left with unanswered questions about who Annie really was and about the secrets she kept hidden so well. Ooh, this could be good, Diane. I'm gonna like it. I have a feeling. So I picked that up from Joy of Books. So there's that one. Where do I go next? I'll leave the big stack for the end. Then let's see, we stopped at Malaprops, which is in Asheville, and this was the bookstore we absolutely had to get to because they had an entire shelf of Blind Date with a books that we decided to do a fun video with that I believe went up on Sarah's channel. I can link it below. And so the book that Amanda picked up for me ended up being We Are All Completely Beside Ourselves by Karen Joy Fowler. So it's the Cook family, mother and dad, brother Lowell, sister Fern, and Rosemary, who begins her story in the middle. She has her reasons. I was raised by chimpanzees, she explains. I tell you, Fern is a chimp, and already you aren't thinking of her as my sister. Until Fern's explosion, she was my twin, my funhouse mirror, my whirlwind other half. I loved her as a sister. As a child, Rosemary never stopped talking. Then something happened, and Rosemary wrapped herself in silence. I am very intrigued. So I have this one. It's pretty short, but I definitely want to get to that one. That was a super fun thing to do. And then at Malaprops, right when you walk in, they have an entire table of arcs that are free to anybody, and this one caught my eye. It's Where I Can't Follow by Ashley Blooms. It says, walk through the door and leave all your problems behind, but you don't know what's on the other side, and once you leave, you'll never come back. Will you go through? Marion Walker told herself she wouldn't need to sell pills for long, that it was only a means to an end. But that end seems to be stretching as far away as the other side of the Black Dam County, Kentucky. There's always another bill for Granny's doctor and another problem with the car and another reason she's getting nowhere. She dreams of walking through her little door to leave it all behind. The doors have appeared to people in her mountain town for as long as she can remember, though no one knows where they lead, and all anyone knows that is if you go, you'll never come back. And her mom left through a door when she was 9, and her shadow has followed Marion ever since. When she faces the possibility of escaping her struggles for good, Marion must choose just what kind of future she wants to build. I think it's a really interesting premise, and I'm super excited. And this cover is gorgeous. So I picked that one up. So while in Asheville, we noticed that the library there, which is really close to where we were hanging out, had a bookstore that they're selling their used books for. And we stopped in and took a look around. So I picked up Savage News by Jessica Yellen. I'm really interested in this. I was even questioning whether it was fact or fiction for a little bit, but it's about Natalie Savage. She grew up hearing these words from her father, be nosy. So Natalie spent her 20s missing out on life's benchmarks, going to school, and finally sees her efforts pay off when she's assigned to cover the White House for her own network. The problem, the position's only temporary, a test to see if she has what it takes. She's always relied on her grit, her principles, and her news sense to gain success. But now her competition is a 26-year-old spoiled frat boy who got his big television break by eating raw animal parts on a reality show. So it sounds somewhat hating game-ish with some politics mixed in, and I'm here for it. So I'm really excited for that one. Beyond excited for that one. And then I think I picked this one up. I don't know where I got this one. Did I only get that book? I might have only gotten that book from the library. I'm all kinds of confused. So then we stopped at another bookstore that was like a restaurant and bookstore, and it was a little strange, honestly. These people are trying to like eat and we're like browsing the shelves. I don't know. They had a very interesting, unique selection of books. Nobody bought anything there, but it was cool to see. And then we went to another one, another used bookstore that we found in Asheville, and I picked up 3 books. I got Call Your Daughter Home by Deb Spera, and this one is 1924 in Branchville, South Carolina. 3 women have come to a crossroads. We have Gertrude, a mother of 4, must make an unconscionable decision to save her daughters. Rita is a first-generation freed slave, comes to Gertrude's aid despite the gossip it stirs in the community, and Annie, the matriarch of the influential Coles family, offers Gertrude employment at her sewing circle while facing problems of her own at home. These 3 women seemingly have nothing in common, yet as they unite to stand up to injustices that have long plagued their small town, they find strength in the bond that ties women together. I'm really interested in this. And like, how do the 3 come together and connected? I don't know. I was intrigued. Then I picked up Good Girl, Bad Girl by Michael Robotham. We'll go with that one. A girl's discovered hiding in a secret room in the aftermath of a terrible crime. All I read was that, and I'm like, yep, I'm here for it. We'll keep going. Half starved and filthy, she won't tell anyone her name or her age or where she came from. Maybe she's 12, maybe she's 15. She doesn't appear to be in any missing persons file, and her DNA can't be matched to an identity. 6 years later, she's still unidentified. She's living in a secure children's home with a new name, Evie. When she initiates a court case demanding the right to be released as an adult, forensic psychologist must determine if Evie is ready to go free. But she's unlike anyone he's ever met, fascinating and dangerous in equal measure. Evie knows when someone is lying and no one around her is telling the truth. Sounds messed up, and I'm loving it. Then I picked up The Curse of Misty Wayfair by Jamie Jo Wright, kind of in a thrillery mood when I was on this little trip. It was right before Halloween, so that could have been it. But left at an orphanage as a child, Thea vowed to find her mother someday. Now grown, her search takes her to a turn-of-the-century Pleasant Valley, Wisconsin, which I was all excited to see. When the clues she finds lead her to a mental asylum, she uses her experience as a post-mortem photographer to gain access and assist the groundskeeper in photographing the patients and uncovering the secrets within. However, she never expected her personal quest would reawaken the legend of Misty Wayfair, a murdered woman who allegedly haunts the area and whose appearance portends death. I am all for that one. All for it. All right, we also hit up a couple of free little libraries. We stopped at a Goodwill. I mean, we were all over the place, you guys, but I grabbed this one out of one of the free little libraries. It's in rough shape, but you know what? It was free. And it's Diane Chamberlain's Summer's Child. I just cannot get enough of this author. I love her. So this one's early in the morning of her 11th birthday. On the beach beside her North Carolina home, Daria receives an unbelievable gift from the sea, an abandoned newborn baby. So now what? When the infant's identity cannot be uncovered, she's adopted by Daria's loving family, but her silent secrets continue to haunt Daria. Now 20 years later, Shelley has grown into an unusual young woman whom Daria continues to protect. But when Rory Taylor, a friend from Daria's childhood and now a television producer, returns at Shelby's request to do a story about the circumstances surrounding her birth, something precarious shifts in the small town. The more questions Rory asks, the more unsettled the tiny community becomes as closely guarded secrets and the sins of the long ago summer begin to surface. I can't wait. So excited for that one. And then I don't know where I picked this one up. Could have been Free Little Library. Oh no, there's a price inside, so probably from one of the bookstores. So this is American Duchess, a novel of Consuelo Vanderbilt. This is by Karen Harper. November Day, 1895, a carriage approaches St. Thomas Episcopal Church in New York City's Fifth Avenue. Massive crowds surge forward, awaiting their glimpse at the heiress Consuelo Vanderbilt. Just 18, and the beautiful bride has arrived not only late, but in tears. Yet her marriage to the aloof 9th Duke of Marlborough proceeds. Consuelo, bullied into the wedding by her indomitable mother, Elva, loves another, but a deal was made, trading Vanderbilt wealth for a title and prestige, and Consuelo was bred to obey. I'm in it. Okay, so now we get to the big kind of pile of books. So the like honey hole of all bookstores is called Books for Good. It's in Hendersonville. Oh wait, no, it says Fletcher. Is what the actual city name is, but It is unbelievably fantastic. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous while going there because you have to like go through this go through a parking lot to get to an entrance that's by a bunch of like warehouses or storage units, and it's in the back. I'm like, I don't know about this, guys. But then we walk in and it is the bookstore to end all bookstores. And this is where we did the scavenger hunt from Amanda's channel, and I can link that below too. This place was fantastic. So it's a used bookstore, and they have an amazing selection that is organized and easy to look through. And so whenever someone donates books to this thrift store, they get to choose what charity the proceeds from their books will go to. They've already gifted $200 and some thousand. It's all run by volunteers. It's just amazing. And I went a little crazy. So the first thing we saw was you could buy a box of mystery books for $6. And so we bought that box. That unboxing is in Krista's vlog, so I can leave that below as well. And we each kept a few books from that. I kept The Rocheforts by Christian Labori. So this one is about the Rochefort has built an empire manufacturing denim. His biggest client is Levi Strauss. As the craze for blue jeans begins to sweep the globe, this Rochefort Industries seems poised for untold success. But Anselme can be as cruel and ruthless with his family as he is in the business. So the Rochefort's neighbor, Donation Riviere, has one of the region's most prosperous farms and is desperate for a son to carry on his legacy after the birth of three daughters. They adopt an orphan from the Sisters of Charity convent and raise him as their own. When Anselme suggests uniting the two families by arranging for their children to marry, it seems like the perfect match, but as the lives of the two clans grow increasingly intertwined, dark secrets come to light, including the mysterious circumstance of the death of Anselme's oldest daughter. So it just sounds like family drama, and I'm here for it. And what I love is their short chapters. So I picked that one out of the box. I picked Park Lane by Frances Osborne. It gives me like Downton Abbey feels. So we have 18-year-old Grace. She arrives in London in 1914. She's unable to fill her family's ambitions and finds a position as an orphan secretary. So she lies to her parents and her brother, and she takes a job as a housemaid at number 35 Park Lane, where she's quickly caught up in the lives of its pedigree inhabitants. In particular, those of his privileged son Edward and daughter Beatrice, who is recovering from a failed relationship that would have taken her away from an increasingly stifling life. Determined to find new purpose, Bee joins a group of radical suffragists and strikes up an intriguing romance with an impassioned young lawyer. Unbeknownst to Bee and Grace, the choices that they make amid the rapid changes wrought by World War I will connect their chances at future happiness in dramatic and inevitable ways. That's a lot for this little book, but I'm excited about that one. Then Sarah gave me this one as a joke. It's How to Be Good by Nick Hornby. I laughed. It was funny. Yet it sounds like it's interesting. So Nick Hornby enters the heart, mind, and soul of a woman who, confronted by her husband's sudden and extreme spiritual conversion, is forced to learn how to be good for better or worse. So I don't know, because you never know. And then the pile of books that I picked out from Books for Good. Here we go. When I say this place is so reasonable, this book was $2.98. Look at this condition for $3. And it's John Mars, which I've become one of my favorite authors this year. It's When You Disappeared. All she wants was the truth, but she'll wish she never found out. So Catherine's husband was missing, there's a sticker. Presumed dead, and now he's standing on her doorstep. That's all I read. That's all I want to know. I like going to John Mars books, somewhat blind, so we're gonna leave it at that. Then I picked up Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I believe Audrey from Chapter and Converse has been talking all about this one, and that's why I grabbed it. I don't really know what it's about. Let's see. Catherine House is a school of higher learning like no other. Hidden deep in the woods of rural Pennsylvania, this crucible of reformist liberal art study, with its experimental curriculum, wildly selective admissions policy, and formidable endowment, has produced some of the world's best minds. For those lucky few selected, tuition, room, and board are free, but acceptance comes with a price, always. Students are required to give the house 3 years, summers included, completely removed from the outside world. Family, friends, television, music, even their clothing must be left behind. In return, the school promises its graduates a future of sublime power and prestige, and that they can become anything or anyone they desire. What goes on? We're gonna find out. And look at that cover. Love it. I got a little bit into a Christmassy mood. I picked up A Quilt for Christmas by Sandra Dallas. I've read all the Christmassy books that I have, and I need something for this year. So we have 1864 in Kansas. It looks like during World War II. So I'm all for that one. I also picked up Last Christmas in Paris by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. And this one is Christmas Time in Paris. Thomas Harding travels to the City of Lights, a packet of cherished letters in hand, letters that tell a story of love and loss, friendship and family, the innocent hopes of a generation devastated by war. As he reads the letters one more time, Tom's transported back to 1914 and the sunlit August day when Evie Elliott waves goodbye to him and her brother Will as they head to the Western Front. All believe the world will be over by Christmas when the trio plan to reunite and celebrate the holiday in Paris, but it's not to be. Decades later, Thomas finds himself once again in his beloved Paris, determined to fulfill a last promise to lay to rest the ghost of the past. But one final letter is waiting for him. Yep, all for that one. This one is probably the most expensive one I picked up. It was $10, but I felt like I needed it. Raft of Stars by Andrew Graff. Also takes place in Wisconsin. Let's see. Two boys think they've committed a crime. They flee to the woods while the adults trying to find them reach them before it's too late. I'm all for that one. The next book I picked up was The Witch Hunter by Max Seek. I think I even found this while we were playing the scavenger hunt game. So a best-selling author's wife has been found dead in a gorgeous black evening gown, sitting at the head of an empty dining room table. Her most chilling feature, her face is frozen in a ghastly smile. At first it seems as though a deranged psychopath is reenacting the gruesome murders from the Witch Hunt trilogy, bestsellers written by the victim's husband. But the investigator soon realizes she's not looking for a single killer, but rather for dozens of believers in a sinister form of witchcraft who know her every move and are always one step ahead. Love it. I'm not a big anthology person, but I ended up finding a couple that I thought would work for me. So I have Ghost Stories. There are, it looks like 8 of them. Oh yeah, 8 ghosts of different ghost stories. Again, it was only $4. I think this would be something, and this is like brand new, you guys. I don't think anybody's read this. That's gorgeous. What does the hardcover look like? Well, that's cool. I like that. 8 authors were given after-hours freedom at their chosen English heritage site. Immersed in the history, atmosphere, and rumors of hauntings, they channeled their darker imaginings into a series of extraordinary ghost stories. I'm here for it. Probably not till next October, but I'm here for it. And then I picked up Thriller by Clive Cussler. Turn off your phone, shut down your computer, say goodbye to your friends and family. Be prepared to read for days. Some of the top thrilling writers in the world came together to do thriller stories to keep you up at night. They became part of one of the most successful short story anthologies. So, I don't know how many there are in here. That's a lot of authors. Oh wow. Jeffrey Deaver, Blake Crouch, R.L. Stein. I am here for this. Lisa Jackson. Wow, there's a ton in here. So I am all for that one. When was this published, I wonder? It's Thriller number 2, 2009. All right, I'm here for that. And then the last, let's see, I have another one, literally cover, made me look at it because of the cover, and this is as I'm checking out, and I just, spent another $5, whatever. The End of October. So we have an internment camp in Indonesia. 47 people are pronounced dead with acute hemorrhagic fever. When epidemiologist, I think that's it, Henry travels there on behalf of the World Health Organization to investigate, what he finds will have staggering repercussions. At the same time, halfway across the globe, the Deputy Director of U.S. Homeland Security scrambles to mount a response to the rapidly spreading pandemic, leapfrogging around the world when she believes may be the result of an act of biowarfare and a rogue experiment in man-made diseases is preparing his own terrifying solution. So that's appropriate for right about now, right? It has me interested. And then the last one I picked up is Christina Baker Klein's The Exiles. Again, this one was probably, I mean, this one was $10 as well. So let's see, of all the money, let's see. So that means I only spent $20 on all the rest of them. It's crazy. Seduced by Your Employer's Son. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at, oh, that's glorious. Anyways, I was distracted by the map. Seduced by her employee's son, naive London governess Evangeline is arrested on a trumped-up charge when her pregnancy is discovered and is sent to the notorious Newgate prison. After months in the fetid, overcrowded jail, she learns she will be exiled to the land beyond the seas. Van Diemen's Land, a penal colony in Australia. Though uncertain of what awaits, Evangeline knows one thing: the child she carries will be born on the months-long voyage to this distant place. During the journey on a repurposed slave ship, oh, that's sad, Evangeline strikes up a friendship with Hazel, a girl a little older than her former pupils, who was sentenced to 7 years transport for stealing a silver spoon. Canny, where Evangeline does Gildas, Hazel is a skilled midwife and herbalist, is soon offering home remedies to both prisoners and sailors in return for a variety of favors. Oh, it's based on true events. Recreates the beginnings of a new society in a beautiful and challenging land. I am beyond excited for this one. And I love Christina Baker Klein's Orphan Train. Love, love, love that book. Have I read any more? I don't think so. So I picked up that one. You know, because I have no other books to read. But how can you let 4 booktubers go on an adventure together and then not go to bookstores and buy books? Like, it's not going to happen. And it was just so fantastic to go and be with these ladies and just, I mean, we all have the same passion around reading and around books and what we're liking, and we're recommending them to each other, and we're sharing books. And I mean, every place that we went, I think we struck up some conversations with, maybe I just struck up conversations with people and talked books. It was just so fantastic that I just couldn't help myself. So I'm super excited for some of these books. The rest of the girls also have book hauls. I'm not the only one. Don't you worry. So I'll leave links to their channel below so you can go check out what they have. Otherwise, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm so excited. If you are new to us here, welcome. I haven't said that in a while. I've definitely had some new people join me, so I'm excited you're here. And if you've made it all the way through this video, kudos to you. Go get some coffee or something, because it's kind of a long one. But if you've heard of any of these books, let me know if I need to start any of them sooner than later. Otherwise, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I will see you next time. Bye.